That was not what was supposed to happen. No, just no. St. Louis Rams lost today to the Minnesota Vikings 36-22 in a fashion that was almost inconceivable beforehand. It's hard to recap this because there was so much that went wrong so quickly for the Rams, and yet at the end they made a spirited effort to try to suggest that there was hope when there really wasn't, and it was largely because the second quarter of this game. It's a difficult recap to make. Let's look at things. There was the second quarter explosion where the Vikings scored more than 20 points that really iced the game. Run defense for the Rams that allowed a late 50-plus yard run, but even more importantly, an 82-yard run from Adrian Peterson, who's having one of the most incredible seasons, stats, context, personality, all of it thrown in. You've got an Everson Griffin pick six in that second quarter that really made the hard even harder, made the tough tougher to swallow. And then you had the Blair Walsh on the Rams turf where Greg Zuerlein should be kicking field goal after field goal after field goal. He was able to hit 3 of his 5 field goals on the day for longer than 50 yards. A lot of things did not go the way the Rams needed to. At the same time, the Rams did a lot of things that they needed to do. They kept Minnesota only successful on 2 of their 11 third downs. At the same time, they managed Christian Ponder. While he was successful in terms of completion percentage, 17 of 24, he was not able to throw a ball into the end zone, not able to rack up yardage for those 17 of his 24 completions. 17 completions on 24 attempts, only 131 yards. At the same time, with Adrian Peterson, if you take away that 82-yard run and the 52-yarder, he was only 78 yards on 22 carries. If any other team does that for the entirety of the game, that looks like one of the greatest run defense efforts of the year. Unfortunately, you can't strip those runs out and look at the game without acknowledging that those 2 runs actually happened. They did. And it's sad because on the offensive side, the Rams had enough going for what they needed. 13 rushes from Steven Jackson for 73 yards. 8 carries, 8 receptions for another 73 yards. Bradford with maybe, I'd have to go back and look, but looks like on paper, his best fantasy game of his career. 33 of 55, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns along with that Everson Griffin interception. He had a lot going right throughout the day, and especially in that fourth quarter, given how hard it was for him to operate with his offensive line, especially in the first half. But the truth was, this was a game that was supposed to usher in the opportunity to make the playoffs for the Rams in 2012, and it didn't happen. They bungled the opportunity, the interception, the botched fumble, those 2 runs from Adrian Peterson. Granted, he's one of the greatest running backs, if not the best by far in the NFL. And I think today he made a case for the latter. But the truth is, the Rams had an opportunity at home, and they lost it. They bungled it. That being said, 2 games left in the season. Travel to Tampa Bay, travel to Seattle to finish out. Mathematically, I haven't looked. I know there's a lot. You got a glut of 8 and 6 teams in the middle of the NFC. So perhaps mathematically there's a chance for the Rams to sneak into the playoffs. But the truth is, they would have made things a lot easier with a victory today, and they didn't. I think that's indicative of who this team is. All season I've asked, is this a poor team who had a mediocre stretch early, or a mediocre team who had a stretch of games that really hurt them? Miami, Green Bay, New England. I think the case has been made that it's the latter, that they're a mediocre team who went through those 3 games and missed an opportunity at Miami, as they had at Detroit, as they would have later on at New York, against New York in St. Louis. And it's tough because you look at the season and you say there's missed opportunities. Mediocre teams have missed opportunities, and everything points to the future with an extra first-round pick in the 2013 NFL draft, an extra first-round pick in the 2014 draft. Things look good, but for today, for this season, it's just no. It's a lot of lip and lip.